It's February 23rd, 2022. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I am back in the Seawall Campground, and I wanted to talk a little bit about RV camping here. The campground has one loop, C loop, which is pretty much devoted to RV camping. So I wanted to walk through it and make a few comments about camping here with your RV. And the reason is, it's only about a month until the National Park Services opens reservations for this campground for the 2022 season. And here we are. This is the RV camping area, and I think I'm gonna go down this one, okay, and we'll take a look at it. If we go down here, the first 12 sites are sites C1 through 12, and these are the only sites that can accommodate bigger RVs. Some of the sites in A loop can accommodate small RVs up to 20 feet. And I'm going to do a separate video on that particular loop to show you what some of the limitations of those sites are. Now here we have sites C1 and C2. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a line of white rocks down the middle of this clear area. Lines up with this bit of paint on the road and a bit of paint on the other road there. And to the right of the line of white rocks is site C1, and to the left is site C2. So you can see, if you take either of these two sites when you reserve, you're going to be right next to your neighbor. And this one here, you're going to have to enter site C1 from this road and site C2 from the other road, or your entrance doors on your RVs will be right against each other. And unless you make a point of pulling to the right when you pull in here, if you have a slide, you may not be able to open it because you might be right up against your neighbor. Basically, the first 12 sites here in the RV camping area are like that. Here are sites 3 and 4. Again, 2 sites. Here's the boundary between the two. Goes right across, and you're gonna find it basically impossible to be more than about 8 or 9 feet from the adjacent RV. So I would say that if you're going to come in here and reserve a site for RV camping, unless you're traveling with somebody else, you really do not want to reserve any of the sites between C1 and C12, because they're all paired, and you're going to be right next to your neighbor. And as you can see, there have been quite a few trees down here. We've passed quite a few on a road already. Here's some more, and a lot of wind damage in the campground last winter. Okay, so that was the main thing I wanted to say. Of course, these are all drive-through sites, and they are RV sites, although I think they will allow you to put a tent on them if you make your reservation and show up with your tent. Now, this is also the only loop in this campground that allows generator use. And they only allow it in the morning from like 7 to 9, and in the afternoon from about 4 to 7. Other than that, you have to shut your generator down. And of course, this being a national park campground, these are all boondocking sites. So no electricity, no sewer, and no water hookups. Although there are potable water taps spaced out through the campground. And right here at the back of the first group of sites is a potable water tap, and where those yellow pylons there are is the dump station. So you can come in here and dump, you just can't connect to sewer from your site. And lots more tree damage here. So I'll just reiterate, unless you're traveling with somebody, you probably did not want to reserve any of the sites from C1 to C12. All of the other sites here are individual sites. Here's C29, for example. Nice big back-end site. Plenty of room. And the bulk of the remaining sites are also drive-through. Here's C28 right there, and I'm going to walk through to the parallel road. And wow, there's a lot of tree damage in here. I think I can get over there this way. A bit of a lake here. But over here, in contrast to the first 12 sites, we have individual drive-through sites with a lot more room and a lot more privacy. As I pointed out in my last video here in the Seawall Campground, there was a huge amount of tree damage due to a couple of big windstorms we had earlier this winter. And here's an example. Just piles and piles of brush. And I guess the National Park Service realized just how extensive it was, because they came in this year and, as you can see, started cutting these trees up well before they usually do. They would usually start in April. A big tree fell there, and huge amount of damage everywhere you look. But again, the sites back here are drive-through sites, and they are much more private than sites over between C1 and C12. And there are 2 restrooms here in C Loop. This one is shared with the group camping area, which is just down the hill slope a little behind that restroom, and you can see it better from up here a little bit. And as I said, reservations for Seawall open up on March 25th this year, 2 months, 60 days before the campground opens on May 25th. So it's going to, and there are, at least as far as I can tell from the website, there are no first come first serve sites in the campground this year. And here's a good view of the group camping area, which has been closed for the last couple of years, but I believe is going to be open this year. I should say that if you're coming here with your RV or your tent and want to drive up site, it's going to cost you $30 a night, unless you're a little bit older like I am and have a lifetime or annual senior pass, in which case the drive up sites are $15, and there's no difference in cost for an RV site and a tent site. D-Loop here in the campground also has walk-in tent sites, almost over 100 of them, and they are $22 a night. So this is the main RV camping area here in Seawall Campground, Acadia National Park. And the desirable sites are anything numbered above 12, unless you're traveling with somebody and you want to put two RVs side by side. Okay, so that is a quick walk through the somewhat arboreally challenged sea loop, the RV loop here in the Seawall Campground in Acadia National Park. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't, why don't you consider subscribing to my channel?